All right, ladies and gentlemen, MrSotko here. Welcome back to the channel. Got a whole bunch of good news stuff for you as usual. And the first article we have is that American Express is pleased with the Ripple cross-border payments pilot. So I know like 50% of you probably are like, oh, Ripple, that's terrible. And then the other 50% are like, hey, my Ripple's going to go up in price. So, can't win them all. So, blockchain technology is receiving renewed support from different organizations, and one of these organizations is the multinational finance service corporation American Express, and their corporate payments as a general manager Carlos Corrado has hinted that its pilot test with Ripple to allow real-time cross-border corporate payments have been successful. So, according to reports from Invest in Blockchain this week, Corrado gave a statement at the Wings of Change Europe conference. In a statement, he focused on American Express's interest in the blockchain technology. Says blockchain is absolutely an option we're looking at. Just to give you a sense, we have invested in a fintech lab based on a blockchain technology just to understand how to leverage this better. And the general manager particularly mentioned the blockchain company Ripple, since it's working with American Express and Santander in testing a blockchain-powered cross-border payments solution. He says, we did a test partnering with Santander locally and with Ripple just to do cross-border transactions. And in a matter of seconds, though, through this test, our clients were able to transfer funds in a very transparent and seamless way from one part of the world to the other one. Well, welcome to the show, American Express. This has been going on for quite a while, but better late than never, I suppose. So, again, I'm not sure if I like just how to leverage this better, because in a corporate sense, that sounds really bad. But either way, Ripple is starting to kind of move along just a little bit in that cross-border payment because with all the hype around Ripple, they really never did all that much. So they're moving along now. So all right, fair enough. Moving on to the next topic here, we have the French Yellow Vest protest movement gets its own very own cryptocurrency, because this is probably a terrible idea. In October 2018, a new protest movement known as the Les Gilets Jaunes, I'm French, sorry guys, or the Yellow Vest movement began online in France after tensions developed over rising fuel prices and the increase in cost of living and government corruption. So now, a new cryptocurrency has stepped forward to help assist with the French people's right to self-determination by helping to reclaim monetary sovereignty and freedom from economic corruption. So the Yellow Jacket movement, mostly comprised of individuals in the French lower middle class, have called for improvements in French living conditions by raising minimum wages and reintroducing the solidarity tax on wealth, and calling for the resignation of Emmanuel Macron as president. So protests began in mid-November as over 300,000 people from across France began blocking roads, fuel depots, and national landmarks. Probably the best way to get something done, right? Just block roads, right? Block production of everything. It's probably, who knows? I don't know. Maybe it does work. These protests and have continued on a weekly basis since, with many protests turning violent. So after gaining considerable momentum in December, the movement has since spread across Europe, gathering significant support in countries including Germany, Belgium, and the Netherlands. So we have a guy with a buy Bitcoin, and then they want to go digital. So according to its website, the Yellow Jacket coin, it's in French, whatever, aims to help promote the international movement of the Yellow Jacket movement throughout Europe by helping Yellow Jackets create a parallel economic system that is not controlled by corporations or central banks. And the central bank, or the project, which mined its Genesis block on December 9th, 2018, and launched its online block explorer just yesterday, appears to be gathering significant support, currently sitting at a network hash rate of 2.4 gigahash and reached a block height of close to 40,000. So as it stands, the tokens lack any intrinsic value and are not tradable on any exchanges, so it is unclear how anybody would extract value or utility from them till it's on an exchange, or why anybody would use the token instead of the myriad of other decentralized cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin or Monero. Exactly, that's what I was kind of thinking this whole article. Just why not just like convince everybody to buy Bitcoin or like Monero or anything really. So I'm not really sure what the point of creating was. Probably a cash grab from somebody somewhere along the line, but you can mine Yellow Jacket coin now, so that's a thing, I guess. Moving on. The U.S. government tells Bitcoin bomb scam victims to inform the FBI and not pay ransom money. So a suspected scam which threatens to blow up buildings unless recipients pay a Bitcoin ransom caught the attention of the United States government. Yeah, I bet it would. The scam, which centers on an anonymous email demanding payment of $20,000 in Bitcoin or face a mercenary detonating a device in your building, has appeared throughout the world. Now, the U.S. National Cybersecurity and Communications Integration Center, wow, that's a long one, opted to release dedicated advice to victims, advising the only action necessary on receipt of an email was to inform the FBI. So the NCCIC is aware of worldwide email campaign targeting businesses and organizations with bomb threats, it said. The emails claim that a device will detonate unless a ransom in Bitcoin is paid. So that's all I'm going to read of this article, because this is the worst. This is just terrorism. This is like the worst idea ever. Like, if you really need to scam, why not just get a couple Twitter accounts and, you know, just send us 10 BTC and we'll send you, I don't know, whatever it is. Just send us 0.1 BTC and we'll send you 10 and make out like that. Because for some reason, for some insane reason, that actually works on people. You know, no need for emails like this. There's plenty of other scam ways to go about things, and, you know, with that said, plenty of legit ways to do it as well. So, yeah, don't do that. Moving on. To an interesting article, Bitcoin related to Satan, ? Most outrageous crypto conspiracy theories. Oh my, this ought to be good. So the mark of the devil, people usually demonize what they don't understand, and Bitcoin, as well as any other cryptocurrency, shrouded in darkness due to its complex nature. According to the following conspiracy theory, Bitcoin is believed to be the mark of the beast. Exactly. Exactly. This is what I've been saying for years, guys. Obviously, it's the mark of the beast. This theory finds its origins in the Bible's New Testament, in the book of Revelations, chapter 13, where it's stated that people will be forced to have the mark on their bodies in order to be able to purchase everyday necessities, with people now being able to store their Bitcoin under their skin with subdermal chips. Really? Since when? Literally being marked by the technology itself. The theories gain cryptocurrency, especially among religious circles and conservatives. Oh my god. It's definitely the mark of the beast, because you can wear your subdermal... Who'd wear a subdermal chip? Don't do that. Don't do that. The CIA and MI5 created Bitcoin to fund secret missions. The claim is not unfounded, as it was made by one of the wealthiest women in Russia and co-founder of Russian cybersecurity firm Kaspersky. Natalia Kaspersky, during her presentation at ITMP University in St. Petersburg, one of her slides read, Bitcoin is a project of American intelligence agencies, which was designed to provide quick funding for U.S., British, and Canadian intelligence activities in different countries. The technology is privatized, just like the internet, GPS, and Tor. In fact, it is Dollar 2.0. Its rate is controlled by the owners of exchanges, and she also explained that Satoshi Nakamoto was a code name for a collective of American cryptographers. When influential people like herself make such claims, it's not hard to see how the news, no matter how fake it might be, will soon be woven into full-blown conspiracy theories. Also, you know, just to throw that out there, too, the SHA-256 algorithm is based off the SHA-2 algorithm, which is 256-bit, and there's other variations of it and higher bits and such. Was made, in fact, made by the NSA. That's not a conspiracy theory. That was, in fact, made by the NSA. And it's kind of old news anymore. The NSA certainly has moved on to way higher things, and they likely have quantum computers. And now when you say, whoa, Sako, you're getting crazy here. I think they probably do have quantum computers, but probably not as powerful as, like, what you would think, like being able to just control the universe and create, like, vast, infinite realities and such. You know, just... I'm sure they have better stuff than you have. I read an article a long time ago that the NSA supposedly in the late 60s had computers that were calculated about 600 megahertz, which for the day was unbelievably fast, considering that it took about 30 years, maybe a little bit less, but let's call it 30 years, till 600 megahertz processors were just available to the public, like Pentium 2, Pentium 3 kind of deal. Actually, I don't know if there was 600 megahertz Pentium 2s, but I know there was Pentium 3s. So you could just see the difference there. 30 years, if that was true, the difference between them having a 600 megahertz processor and us having a 600 megahertz processor. So that makes you kind of think, what do they have today with all of their millions and billions in funding and probably the brightest minds in the world? Probably a lot. So this number 2 is actually not too crazy. governments buying all the Bitcoin. Various governments are secretly buying up all the Bitcoin in the world. And this theory has risen out that many confiscations of Bitcoin by governments and millions they have been selling it. Not only governments, but also investors like Timothy Draper, who bought their Bitcoin at discounted prices from government auctions. And then Mt. Gox crash triggers conspiracy theories from being the biggest Bitcoin exchange in Japan. Mt. Gox was, by the end of February 2014, bankrupt. 850,000 Bitcoins were lost in a hack and 28 million in cash already missing from the company's bank account. And this was feared to be the end of Bitcoin as the price crashed. While some of it was recovered, 200,000 Bitcoins were allegedly later discovered by Karpellis in some forgotten wallet. 650,000 have never been found. To cut a long story short, Mt. Gox continues to be under bankruptcy protection with the case being under investigation. And the French developer who purchased the exchange in 2011, Marc Karpellis, was arrested in Japan and charged with fraud and embezzlement for transferring 341 million yen, about $3 million, from a Mt. Gox holding account fund to another account in his name in 2013. Karpellis was also charged with the allegation of boosting the balance of an account in his name in Mt. Gox's trading system. He was imprisoned in July 2016 when he was released on bail, and the 32-year-old chief executive was pleaded not guilty to the charges relating to the loss of Bitcoins from Mt. Gox. While the story is intriguing, the loss of such a big number of Bitcoin has sparked a series of theories, including suggestions that Mt. Gox never had the amount of coins it claimed it did, and that Karpellis had manipulated the numbers to show that the exchange held more Bitcoin than it really did. And another conspiracy theory alleges that the U.S. government seized Gox's cold wallet, and that Karpellis was ordered not to disclose the truth. Fairly unfactual basis there. But number 4, one world currency. This is the belief that the future of the world will share one currency, which will be created by the elite. And the theory is loosely related to one about the mark of the beast, as the currency will be traceable and everyone in the world will be forced to use it. And this fits with blockchain technology being traceable and also Bitcoin being a cyber currency that can be used globally to create a new world order. Now, this one is actually a little bit interesting, number 5. Now, I don't know about what was written here necessarily, and I think if you really want to go into a conspiracy theory, and maybe this isn't what I believe, but let's just have some fun. If the government created Bitcoin as a test, and it really was a group of NSA programmers, codename Satoshi Nakamoto, why that name, who knows, but it was the NSA's algorithm that was used, interestingly enough, and there was a lot of talk about cryptocurrencies before Bitcoin. So there's the Nick Szabo's BitGold, and then there was cyberpunks in the in the early 90s that we're talking about as well, and there was many iterations up to that point. So maybe they just created it to see, let's just see how this goes, let's see what people do with this. But in reality, Bitcoin is not a really good world currency. One, it's slow. If everybody in the world had to use Bitcoin, it would be incredibly slow commerce, incredibly expensive, and it just probably wouldn't be that good. So, with that said, I do believe that in one day there will be digital currencies by governments, because it's perfect. It's perfect for a government. If you really think about it, it's absolutely perfect. Blockchain is absolutely perfect for a government. Now, sure, you could see corruption with blockchain, but I'm sure they'll work that part out. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, guys? They'll work that one. They'll snip that one out. You know what I mean? Just see where secret money goes and stuff. They're gonna, just clip that one right out. But it's perfect, right? Because you would have to, like, what do you do now, right? You have to go to a bank and get a bank account. Right, so you sit down at the bank, and what do you give them? You give them everything. You give them your ID, your social security number, your address, and basically everything. You sign tons of papers, even just to open a simple bank account, right? So if I were to launder money, if I were to receive money from terrorism or some kind of nefarious purpose, I mean, you can even see it in all those FBI shows, in the cold case files, where like somebody built a bomb and blew something up. And what they do is they end up finding that person, and they're investigating him, and they end up investigating his credit card, and he went to this place, and he bought this much gunpowder, he bought wiring, he bought metal tubes, he bought this, that, and the other thing, and they can track all that down, put it all together, and you're the guy, right? And that's good, right? We should track criminals, okay? But if you think about it, it would be the same process with blockchain or a digital currency. But in the end of the opening your bank account, you would receive a private and a public key, or rather maybe even just a public key. And with that public key, your name would be attached to it. Unlike Bitcoin or Monero or anything like that, your name isn't attached to them. But in this case, it would be. So it would be my name and this public key. So every time I make a transaction, it's just completely visible to everybody. And anytime I receive money, it's completely visible. It's extremely easily trackable. I can't even just go to like Walmart and buy one of those Visa cards and then buy my things with that Visa card, as opposed to, you know, using my bank account with my name on it. So you would never be able to do that. You would never be able to buy anything without your name on it. And they'd be able to follow every transaction all the way up to you and then beyond you and everyone else that you would ever have given that money to. So you can see it's just absolutely perfect for government. So I think one day, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years in the future, absolutely the world will be using a digital currency. Is it going to be a one world currency? Maybe not. But especially considering a lot of countries probably wouldn't participate in it, and that would kind of throw things out of the loop a little bit. In that case, every country in the world would have to just all agree, yes, we're going to use this digital currency, which I find very unlikely. But one day, maybe there will be a world currency that is just digital, and that no matter where you are and no matter what country you are, you're completely within the jurisdiction of it, because every country has to use this currency, and every transaction you ever make can be traced back to you and beyond that as well. So it does make a lot of sense. Number 6, conspiracy theories birthing new ones. From Bitcoin being a creation of the U.S. government, China, or the NSA, to Satoshi Nakamoto being an AI, crazy theories abound. Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies continue to feed imaginations of crypto enthusiasts and online users, because conspiracy theories are fun. Why not? Enchanting the online space and creating a sense of community where users can share their beliefs and theories. Originating from events in real life and blown out of proportion, these conspiracy theories have become a kind of a blockchain folklore and undoubtedly continue to give birth to new theories as crypto has become more commonly used in everyday life. And it is kind of weird. Satoshi Nakamoto, if he was one person or a small group of people, they have never used the Bitcoin that has been sitting around in the wallet since pretty much day one, or at least month one. Does that make sense? I don't know. You guys don't know what I'm saying, but the original addresses, which hold, you know, upwards of 1 million or more Bitcoin, that have just been sitting there dormant. I find it hard to believe that any one person would never, ever spend their Bitcoin. You know, we all need money. We all need a bigger house. We all need to pay our bills. We all need to pay our mortgage. And I find it weird if it was one guy or a group of people that never used their coin. So it kind of leads you to believe maybe it was an NSA operation. But we'll never know. And maybe it's a little ridiculous to speculate on things that we just don't know. But if it was the NSA or something like that, we will never know, because they would never give that information away. But Satoshi Nakamoto themselves, or himself, or herself, potentially, could easily display their identity by just, you know, using their original email and the original forums and just moving some of the original Bitcoin around and saying, hey, look, this is what I can do, and I can move this Bitcoin around. Boom, you're Satoshi Nakamoto, for the most part. So, moving on here, report of Bitcoin's demise have been greatly exaggerated. So Bitcoin and wider cryptocurrency markets have had a terrible to a trying year. Bitcoin price sinking almost 50% since early November and sparking a wave of obituaries for the ailing Bitcoin and crypto sector. And the current Bitcoin bear market, labeled crypto winter for its debilitating effects on the broader market and industry, has seen more than 700 billion wiped from the total value of all cryptos this year, some 80% of its value since all-time high. And Bitcoin has seen similar percentage declines before, however has managed to recover from them. So now researchers at the University of Cambridge have found the Bitcoin industry will likely bounce again. Yeah, you think? I'm pretty sure it will too. Statements proclaiming the death of crypto asset industry have been made after every global ecosystem bubble, researchers wrote. While it is true that the 2017 bubble was the largest in Bitcoin's history, the market capitalization, which is not necessarily true in some ways, depending on how you look at it, the market capitalization of both Bitcoin and the crypto asset ecosystem will still exceeds its January 2017 levels prior to the start of the bubble. And the speculation of the death of the market and ecosystem has been greatly exaggerated, and so it seems likely that the future expansion plans of industry participants will, at most, be delayed. Well, I think all of this is not necessarily the work of people fudding or anything like that, but I think people fudding certainly help it, and I think that that's intentional. As there's a lot of videos going around, there's a lot of information going around lately that, major investors, institutional investors, if you will, are fudding on purpose so that the price goes down. In fact, Jamie Dimon fudded a while back, many months ago, and we all remember that, and Bitcoin dropped 24% right after it. It certainly recovered pretty quick, but it just goes to show the power that these institutions have. If they say, hey, don't buy this, hey, this is a bubble, this is not good, a lot of investors really respect Jamie Dimon, JP Morgan, etc., all these, Warren Buffett, and they do. That's an objective thing that we all have to realize. That those are very respected people in the industry, or at least in their industry, right? And we have our own industry that they are fudding on. And then he says, hey, we're going to, fire anybody. And then, wouldn't you know, weeks later, JP Morgan has a trading desk for Bitcoin. Wow, geez, what a coincidence, right? So of course they want the prices to go down so that they can buy it all up and institutionalize it. And I don't think it's going to be good. I know I say it just about every video lately. I just don't think institutionalization of Bitcoin is going to be a good thing. They're going to corporatize it. They're going to, make paper payments where, they're really trading 50, 100 million Bitcoin, even though there's only like 17, 18 million in existence at the moment, 21 million max. So with futures and paper trading, you can trade way more than you actually have. And that's exactly what we try to get away from. Banks giving out loans that they don't have, and everybody's kind of rooting for it so that their Bitcoin goes up in price. But once it does, and once you sell, you'll never be able to get back into it again in the same way you did. So, geez, just not good, guys. Not a good thing at all. So let's take a look at CoinMarketCap and take a look at the price. So 102 billion market cap, 61 million, 102 billion, 61 million. Let's hit a refresh and see where we're at. 102 billion, and we went up just a little bit, but we are really close to that nearly sub 100 billion mark at 3,200 Bitcoin, 28-cent Ripple, $84 Ethereum, and Litecoin down to $23. I remember last year Litecoin going all the way up to $90, and then when the Chinese exchange problem hit, I believe in September, it went down to like $32. So we're actually lower than Litecoin in like September of 2017, which is pretty crazy. So it's very, very low price, but not lower than when, January 2017 either. So you have to take that into consideration that Bitcoin was at 1,000 in January 2017. So we're nearing there. I mean, 3,200, not that far off compared to what we have seen for quite a while now. But interestingly enough, still Bitcoin 55% dominant. So altcoins going down on average way more. Bitcoin Cash at $80. SV at $74, absolute sundering of the Bitcoin Cash price because of their little war that they wanted to have. So good for them for absolutely destroying the value of their coin and pretty much everything else. Looks like we had a little pump and dump on that IOTA for some reason. But that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and as usual, I will see you guys next time.